Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. India's landmark criminal laws to replace British-era acts to be tabled in Upper House of Parliament. India all geared up to tackle spread of JN.1, a subvariant of SARS-CoV-2. Health Minister says no need to panic. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issues warning to Hamas, says members only have two choices, surrender or die. Venezuela frees 10 US citizens as part of a prisoner swap with the United States. Indian Parliament reconvened for the 14th day of the ongoing winter session today. In the Lok Sabha, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur moved the Press and Registration of Periodicals Bill 2023 for consideration and passing. The bill provides for easing the process of registration of newspapers, journals and books. The lower house is now discussing the bill. Earlier, India's Minister of State for Law and Justice, Arjun Ram Meghwal, moved the Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners' appointment conditions of service and term of office Bill 2023 for consideration and passing. The bill has been passed through a voice vote. In the upper house, India's Home Minister Amit Shah will move the three revised criminal laws for consideration and passing. These bills, the Bharatiya Nyaya Second Sanhita 2023, the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Second Sanhita 2023 and the Bharatiya Sakshya Second Bill 2023 were passed by Lok Sabha on December 20, 2023. The three bills replace the Indian Penal Code of 1860, Code of Criminal Procedure of 1973 and Indian Evidence Act of 1872. Meanwhile, Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnav moved the Telecommunications Bill 2023 for consideration and passing in the upper house. The bill was passed by the lower house on Wednesday. Now an update on the Indian Parliament security breach probe. Police custody of the two people and their associates who entered Parliament's end today, due to which the police will seek for further custody of the accused from the court on Thursday. Earlier, Patiala House Court had sent all four accused to police custody for 7 days. Well, DD India correspondent Vikas Sarthi joins us for more details. Vikas, can you provide more details on the three revised criminal laws which will be tabled in the upper house?
Right, Siddharth. We expect that any moment now Home Minister will start a discussion on these three bills in the upper house in the Rajya Sabha. Yesterday we saw Lok Sabha passed this bill after a long discussion on each and every part of these bills, and as we are aware that the whole theme of criminal justice system is being changed or is being improved. You can say that we are going away from the colonial mindset, and in fact, Home Minister underlined that if you go through the provisions of the previous laws, whether IPC or CRPC, these legislations were made keeping in mind to fulfill the agenda of the colonial powers. That is why this sedition charge was given so much prominence, which has been dropped by the government in this present bill. And apart from it, several other things have been improved or included, like earlier terrorism, organized crime, mob lynching, and similar crimes were not included in our main criminal code. Now these serious offenses, these serious crimes have been included in our main criminal code. Apart from it, several changes have been made to the CRPC, criminal procedure, where it has been provided that most of the proceedings can be done through video conferencing. And apart from it, a timeline has also been fixed, Siddharth, for trial courts to expedite the hearing of the cases. In fact, it provides that once the arguments are closed, when all the parties submit their response on the petitions, the trial court must give a judgment or order within 30 days. So it provides a timeline, and it will certainly ensure that people get justice in time. And apart from it, it will also reduce the burden of pending cases in courts across the country.
Okay, and Vikas, can you highlight the specific aspects of the Indian Penal Code, Code of Criminal Procedure and Indian Evidence Act, that these bills aim to replace?
All right, Siddharth. So in this particular Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the government has included crimes related to terrorism, crimes related to organized crime, and apart from it, cases related to the financial frauds. Earlier, if you go through the Indian Penal Code, which was almost more than a century, decades old, and it's almost a century old law. And in that criminal code, these crimes were not included, and these issues were dealt through similar acts which were passed by the parliament, like UAPA was introduced to deal with the cases of terrorism, and you have PMLA to check the financial frauds. But now, in your main criminal code, these crimes have been included. Apart from it, we have seen some major changes as well, like Supreme Court declared that homosexuality is not a crime and struck down the section 377 of IPC. Similarly, we saw that adultery was decriminalized by the Supreme Court. So these two issues addressed in this Sanhita as well, and government was of the view that Supreme Court has given a progressive definition to such criminal laws, and in fact, even objection of some of the member of parliaments that again 377 must be reintroduced and adultery must be declared crime again. The government was of the view that Supreme Court ruling are very progressive, and these sections have been dropped in our Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. As far as the CRPC is concerned, as I just mentioned that earlier, there was no timeline for courts to pronounce the verdict. For the first time, it has been mandatory for trial courts that it should pronounce verdict within 30 days after the arguments are completed by the parties. As far as the Evidence Act is concerned, now the electronic evidence will also be admissible in the court. So what will happen that a petitioner or a respondent can provide his documents, his affidavits, wakalatnama, etc. in digital format, in pen drive, in USB drive. So it has been provided that all these things will be admissible in a court of law. Earlier, that was not the provision.
All right, thanks for your analysis, Vikas. Well, spread of JN.1, a subvariant of SARS-CoV-2, the virus that caused COVID-19 in the first place, is becoming a cause of concern. Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia on Wednesday conducted a review of health facilities nationwide, emphasizing the importance of staying alert to emerging strains of the coronavirus.
COVID-19 pandemic has once again returned across the globe. Though this variant JN.1 is comparatively less risky, countries are battling the surge cautiously. India is all set to battle the new COVID cases. The country's health minister, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, on Wednesday chaired a high-level meet to review the COVID-19 situation in India and preparedness of public healthcare system for surveillance, containment and management of COVID-19. In the meet, Indian states and union territories were advised to send samples of all COVID-19 positive cases to labs, plan appropriate public healthcare response. States were also advised to monitor emerging evidences of COVID-19 cases, symptoms and case severity. Mock drills to be undertaken every 3 months at both the central and state levels. Strengthen the surveillance systems for whole genome sequencing of positive case samples. Ramp up testing. Remain alert. Increase surveillance. Ensure adequate stock of medicines, oxygen cylinders, concentrators, ventilators and vaccines. Raise awareness among people on respiratory hygiene. Dissemination of factually correct information, counter fake news to mitigate any panic, and share information on cases, tests and positivity in real time.
It is not serious by itself. WHO has named it as a variant of interest. That means we watch it carefully, we keep on tracking this, keep on understanding its structure and so on. This variant has been present in 36 to 40 other countries, originally reported in Europe way back in August. So it's under watch. We are tracking the virus carefully. Subvariant is there in our country, and this is the same virus, as I said, which is driving upsurge in other countries. But we don't have to worry.
Now let's understand what exactly is the new COVID subvariant. JN.1 COVID subvariant, initially identified in Luxembourg, is a descendant of the Pyrola variant. It has its origins in the Omicron subvariant. World Health Organization has classified JN.1 coronavirus strain as a variant of interest. World Health Organization has also said that the current evidence shows risk to public health was low from the strain. The common symptoms of JN.1 subvariant are cough, cold, throat pain, headache, loose motions and mild breathlessness. Subvariant JN.1 has already gripped few countries across the world such as China, Brazil, Germany and the United States. Preventive measures like frequent hand sanitization, use of triple mask and social distancing can help us in dealing with it efficiently. Mihir Makri reporting for DD India.
The southern Indian state of Kerala reported 300 new active cases of COVID-19 and 3 deaths on December 20th, as per the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The total number of active cases of COVID-19 in the country stands at 2,669. All right, and DD India correspondent Sam joins us from Kochi for more details. Sam, could you provide more details on the characteristics of the JN.1 subvariant and how it differs from the original SARS-CoV-2 strain? Sam, you're not audible.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please continue.
Yes. As you said, according to the latest reports from the Union Health Ministry, the daily number of COVID patients in Kerala has exceeded 300. 3 deaths due to COVID have been reported in last 24 hours in the state. There are currently 2,341 COVID patients in the state. The COVID figures coming out now are in such a way as causes serious concern in the state. In the last 24 hours, 358 people have been diagnosed with COVID-19 in the country. It is a matter of concern that 300 cases are from Kerala. The Health Minister Veena George attended the review meeting yesterday called by the Union Health Minister.
Okay.
In that meeting, the Health Minister informed that the situation in Kerala is under control. Kerala Health Minister Veena George said that there is no need to worry even though the cases of COVID are increasing in the state. State Health Department had taken measures to manage the present situation. To answer your question, JN.1 variant growth indicates that it is more transmissible or better at evading immune system. Currently, there is no evidence that JN.1 presents an increased risk to health compared to other variants, and also no indication of increased severity from JN.1.
Okay.
According to the health department, only one of the samples from the patients sent for whole genome sequencing and returned positive for JN.1. Other patients are COVID positive only. The JN.1 patient was a native from Thiruvananthapuram and he is cured now. Meanwhile, the opposition leader V.D. Satish accused the government of trying to cover up the spike in COVID cases, citing reports by the Ministry of Health. He said 85% of the cases in the country had been reported from Kerala.
All right. And Sam, are there any identified factors contributing to the rise of COVID-19 cases in Kerala? And what is the overall strategy to mitigate the impact of emerging strains in the region?
Yes. Kerala Health Minister Veena George said because of the tremendous spike in fever cases, COVID testing rate also increased, hence positive cases being reported as well. In the increase in number of COVID patients being reported from Kerala is due to the more number of samples being tested in Kerala, and everyone who shows symptoms are undergoing COVID test. Meanwhile, the opposition leader accused that government is hiding the real situation. The government is purposely hiding the real situation. All the 21 ministers, including CM and Health Minister, traveling all over Kerala to showcase the achievements of the state government because of the to showcase the achievements of the state government. there are 140 public meetings arranged and huge gathering of party activists is going on. He also stated that the ruling party is trying to build up the public imagery before Lok Sabha election, and they are gambling with people's lives in their hands. BJP State President K. Surendran asked the government to take immediate measures before people start panicking. Government, the health minister says that there is nothing to worry in present situation.
All right. And what public health guidelines are being emphasized to the general population to prevent further spread of COVID-19, Sam?
Yeah, presently there is no public restrictions imposed by government to passengers or to the public. But government gives strict instructions to the hospital authorities and hospital health department staff that all the inpatients and outpatients and all the hospital staff should wear the mask, and there is no mandatory instruction to the public that any kind of mask wearing or anything like that.
All right. Thanks for all those details, Sam. Well, still to come on DD India News Hour. Taiwan accuses China of economic coercion. US, South Korea, Japan call on North Korea to engage in dialogue without preconditions. Pyongyang warns of nuclear attack. Iceland's Prime Minister announces country will work throughout winter to address housing issues caused by evacuation of Grindavik due to a volcanic eruption. Stay with us to know more.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts. We demystify complex social, political, and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Taiwan has accused China of economic coercion after Beijing announced the removal of tariff cuts on 12 chemical imports from the island. The tensions come ahead of Taiwan's presidential and parliamentary elections that will be held early next year. China claims sovereignty over Taiwan. Beijing has accused Taipei of violating a 2010 trade deal by imposing discriminatory prohibitions and restrictions on Chinese exports. Survivors of the deadly earthquake in China sought shelters in temporary tents in sub-zero temperatures as they fret over potential aftershocks of the quake. The 6.2 magnitude earthquake in China struck a remote and mountainous area near the border on Monday. A dozen people still are missing and around 137 people have died. Reiterating Israel's vow to eliminate Hamas, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the terror group's members only have two choices: surrender or die.
עד הסוף. היא תימשך עד לחיסול החמאס. עד לניצחון.
We will not stop the fighting until all of the goals that we have set are achieved. The elimination of Hamas, the release of our hostages, and the removal of the threat from Gaza. We are attacking Hamas with fierce fire. We are also attacking their accomplices near and far. All Hamas terrorists, from the first to the last, are dead men walking. They have only two possibilities: surrender or die.
כל מחבלי החמאס, מהראשון עד האחרון.
Well, as Israeli troops continue their ground operations in Gaza, the army has discovered a network of tunnels running deep beneath central Gaza city. As per the military, the tunnel was found on the properties registered under the name of senior Hamas leader. The tunnels were found when soldiers secured a central area of the city in recent days. Assessed by spiral staircases and an elevator up to 20 meters below ground, the tunnels were facilitated with electricity, plumbing, surveillance cameras, and heavy blast doors. Moreover, Israel has also accused Hamas of deliberately locating tunnels and other military infrastructure among civilians in order to use them as human shields.
As the Israeli army was operating in the area of Hamas leaders in the heart of Gaza City, where the political and military leadership of Hamas is situated, we uncovered an area that served as a base for terror that were located in civilian buildings. With the operation of ground forces and based on intelligence we received under the area of leadership, we uncovered a branch network of strategic underground bases.
The United States have joined hands with Israel to combat Houthi in the Red Sea region. Israeli government on Wednesday welcomed the coalition of 10 navies that was formed to repel the Houthi threats. The US-led security initiative will see Washington and 10 other, mostly NATO countries, patrol the Red Sea to deter and respond to future Houthi attacks that have so far led to major global shipping lines rerouting around Africa instead.
We, of course, welcome the international coalition of 10 navies to repel the Houthi terror pirate threat. This is a threat not just to Israel, but to global maritime trade, to the peace and security of international maritime routes. It is a global threat, and it is right that that be dealt with on a global level. And we thank our American allies for that forceful decision to secure freedom of navigation on the high seas.
Top Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh is in Cairo as Egypt tries to broker a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. This was a rare trip aborted by Haniyeh, who resides in Qatar. Intensive talks are being held on a truce to let additional aid to reach Gaza and free more hostages. In November, nearly 110 of the total 240 hostages held by Hamas were released in exchange for Palestinian prisoners during a temporary truce. There has been another delay in a Security Council vote for a humanitarian pause in Gaza. This latest delay comes at the request of the United States, which says it needs more time to consult. DD India's Jody Jacobs reports from the United Nations in New York.
It's been delay after delay. The initial vote on this current legally binding Security Council resolution was first scheduled for Monday, postponed to Tuesday, delayed to Wednesday, and now once again rescheduled. On Wednesday, the Council held close consultations to continue the negotiations, and these were followed by the announcement of yet another postponement to Thursday. Diplomats here in New York say there's growing frustration with the United States' repeated requests for delays. A major sticking point in this new text is the question of whether the United Nations should take over from Israel to inspect humanitarian shipments going into Gaza, something which the organization ordinarily does in other countries. Israel, we are told, wants the United States to reject this, as it would effectively leave it with no role in screening the shipments. But the UAE's ambassador to the UN, Lana Nasabeh, whose country tabled the resolution, told reporters on Wednesday they've been working long hours and believes giving it another go for additional diplomacy could yield positive results. She says she remains optimistic an agreement will be reached. Earlier this month, the US vetoed a similar Security Council resolution backed by almost all other council members. And while the intense political negotiations continue, the head of the UN's Children's Fund, UNICEF, has warned on Wednesday that there's barely a drop of safe water to drink in Gaza. Jody Jacobs at the United Nations, reporting for DD India.
The Russian Defense Ministry in a report said that Russian military had repelled the Ukrainian offensive and attacked Ukrainian military personnel, tanks and military vehicles in direction of Donetsk. The Russian air defense system shot down one Ukrainian Mi-24 helicopter and 32 drones and intercepted multiple rockets. Ukraine's air defense shot down 34 out of 35 Russian drones launched in a major overnight attack on 12 Ukrainian regions, said the Air Force. Russia had launched Iranian-made Shahed drones in several waves, and the air alerts in many Ukrainian regions, the center, southeast and north, lasted for hours. There were no immediate reports of major damage or casualties. Shifting focus now, the top diplomats of the United States, South Korea and Japan on Wednesday condemned North Korea's recent ballistic missile launches. In a joint statement, the three countries urged Pyongyang to engage in substantive dialogue without preconditions. As per the statement, the United States, Japan and South Korea stand together in opposition to the North Korea's continued development of its unlawful weapons of mass destruction and ballistic missile programs. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Japanese Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa and South Korea's Foreign Minister Park Jin met in. Meanwhile, the United States flew long-range bombers for joint drills with South Korea and Japan on Wednesday. The drill aimed at strengthening countries' joint response comes days after the North performed its first ICBM test in 5 months. The exercise involved B-1B bombers and South Korean and Japanese fighter jets. It said that as of now, the US bomber has been temporarily deployed near and over the Korean peninsula this year, while the B-1B is capable of carrying a large conventional weapons payload. Amidst the development, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has said Pyongyang would not hesitate with a nuclear attack when an enemy provokes it with nuclear weapons. He said the resolute military activity conducted by the company this time was a clear explanation of the offensive counteraction mode and the evolution of the nuclear strategy and doctrine of the DPRK not to hesitate even a nuclear attack when the enemy provokes it with nukes. Kim made the remark as he met with soldiers under the military's Missile Bureau over its recent launching drill of an intercontinental ballistic missile. South Korea and Japan have resumed high-level economic talks for the first time since 2016 in a sign of improving ties amid shared geopolitical concerns. The meeting in Seoul was attended by South Korean Deputy Foreign Minister for Economic Affairs and Japan's Senior Deputy Foreign Minister. The talks, which first began in 1999, had been stalled since 2016 as relations between the two nations took a hit over historical disputes stemming from Japan's occupation of Korea that lasted from 1910 to 1945. Venezuela has freed 10 US citizens as part of a prisoner swap with the United States. It's the largest ever prisoner swap between the two governments. DD India correspondent Mary Trini Mena has more details.
The White House confirmed the release of 10 U.S. citizens, 6 of them designated as wrongfully detained by the State Department. The swap took place in a third country. Before leaving Venezuela, all of the prisoners went through a medical examination. Among the Americans released, 2 former members of the U.S. Special Forces, Aaron Berry and Luke Denman, who were sentenced to 20 years in jail after participating in a failed attempt to overthrow President Nicolas Maduro. This swap comes after the U.S. eased oil sanctions on Venezuela in October. It's the result of many months of secret talks between Venezuelan and U.S. officials. The White House says this is a positive step forward. The current negotiations aim to secure competitive and democratic presidential elections in Venezuela in 2024. Returning to Venezuela is Colombian businessman Alex Saab, who was arrested in 2020 and accused of money laundering. Saab was facing criminal prosecution in a Florida court. Caracas celebrated the return of Saab to Venezuelan soil, saying he was kidnapped by the U.S. On Wednesday, he was welcomed by President Maduro at Venezuela's presidential palace. The Venezuelan government also freed about 24 individuals, some of them linked to the opposition. In Caracas, Mary Trini Mena reporting for DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. India's landmark criminal laws to replace British-era acts tabled in Upper House of Parliament. The bills have already been tabled in the Upper House of the Parliament and rescue operations underway after heavy rains hit India's Tamil Nadu district. India sends relief supplies to Papua New Guinea on a special charter flight.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Let's have a look at the headlines once again. India's landmark criminal laws to replace British era acts tabled in Upper House of Parliament. India all geared up to tackle spread of JN.1, a subvariant of SARS-CoV-2. Health Minister says no need to panic. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issues warning to Hamas, says members only have two choices, surrender or die. India's Home Minister Amit Shah moved the Bharatiya Nyaya Second Sanhita 2023, the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Second Sanhita 2023, the Bharatiya Sakshya Second Bill consideration and passing in the upper house. The bills have already been passed by the lower house. And joining me on the broadcast is Sanjay Chadda, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court. Sir, first of all, a very warm welcome and thank you so much for giving your valuable time. Sir, could you highlight any notable differences between the new legislation and the laws it replaces in terms of protecting individual rights and freedoms?
Well, there are several of them.
Okay.
And, to begin with, I must say that we have started with Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which is going to replace the Indian Penal Code, which will the new law has taken 175 sections of IPC, 22 sections are repealed, and 8 new sections are added. Okay. Now, prominently, what the consideration is those things which were earlier not there, like terrorism, like mob lynching, like sedition. All these sedition is also now changed because there was a concern. So I'll take one by one. Let me start with terrorism. There are several new provisions added and a strict measure will be taken for that. Mob lynching, there was a demand that the incidences of mob lynching are increasing day by day. So what to do? In such circumstances, the government has now incorporated mob lynching as a separate offence, wherein we have provisions to the extent of 7 years to life imprisonment, and even to the extent of capital punishment is what in cases of mob lynching. Then, if I go, sedition is now changed to endangering sovereignty and integrity of nations. An offense is added this. Sedition, as we have seen, there were various judgments starting from Kedarnath in 1965, which has settled the law. But now under this law, I think endangering sovereignty and integrity of nation is taken as the offense. Now terrorism, organized crime, murder, caste, language and belief, basically on these lines, if murder is done, then what will be the offense? So there are several new facets to the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which will be having less section than IPC. It will be having a total of 358 sections. Now, if I talk about further the very prominent changes which have been made in the Bharatiya Nagrik Sanhita, Suraksha Sanhita, which is CRPC. There also, government has taken into account the need of the hour. What is we are. These laws, the earlier IPC, CRPC and Evidence Act belong to the British era. Over 100 years have passed and we are dragging with those. Society has changed a lot. Society has really reached at a place where we are primarily, not that kind of things are there.
Could you explain a bit on the need of the hour, sir, you've just said?
Yes, certainly the need of the hour. If I may here also put across certain provisions which are there, like now for the first time, the CRPC is taking timeline, giving timeline that within these timelines you have to do 90 days are given for charge sheet and further 90 days extension for the charge sheet will be given and no further extension.
And sir, for pronouncing the judgment?
Yeah, for pronouncing the judgment, you have very rightly said if an order after arguments, orders are reserved in the court and then court puts its time, analyze evidences and weigh them and then pass the order. I have seen in my life years pass and no order is passed. Where is the justice? Now under the new law, the judges are duty bound to pass the judgment where the order is reserved within 30 days. So that kind of changes, you know, new dimensions are added. Look, the new development which are taking place as far as the technology is concerned, all those is incorporated in the criminal law. Why not forensic investigation? It is made compulsory that if there is an offense which is punishable with 7 years, forensic investigation is must.
Definitely.
Without which the evidence will not be completed.
Okay. And Mr. Chadha, now in what ways do the proposed changes aim to enhance the efficiency and fairness of the criminal justice system?
I must say it is going to put, you know, once the things are a timeline, that within so many days you have to give the judgment. Within so many days you have to do this particular act. And so the judges know what they have to do within the what time frame, and though we all are knowing that large number of cases, less number of judges is a problem, but if there is a deadline, there is a timeline given in the law, the judges are bound by it.
Correct.
Now, another dimension which is very, very crucial here is what our new these three Sahitas have done is digitalization.
Correct.
What is the proper way, how in a manner we are going to digitalize these courts, and even if a person who is far-flung can give evidence from there without, he need not to travel across and give the evidence. He can appear before VC with VC.
Mr. Chadha, definitely. You know, following what you just said, what modes of presenting the evidence are accepted by the court? You know, we've just heard pen drive also is one of them, and what other means are acceptable in the court of law?
A very beautiful thing. You know, I'm so excited about it. The reason why I'm saying, because so many new dimensions which are there in society, people know how to use WhatsApp. So now, if someone has to be sent, you can send it through WhatsApp, email. So all kind of modes are acceptable. So that is what I think is the beauty. It is nothing but modernization of our
definitely
system, where we are heading. And certainly the objective of the earlier law, I wanted to say one more line. The earlier law, the objective of the prosecution is get the culprit, that the accused punished. This is what was the objective. The objective was never that we have to give the nyaya, we have to give the justice. So today, under this new law, we have to impart justice.
All right, sir, we are a little short of time, but thank you so much for sparing out your valuable time to us.
Thank you very much.
Well, in the aftermath of heavy rainfall, central team of officials recently surveyed several districts of the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu, which continue to reel under severe flood-like situation. The basic amenities pose ongoing challenges for the population as the district of Tuticorin continues to grapple with the repercussions. In response to the crisis, both state and central relief and rescue efforts are underway, with Chief Minister M.K. Stalin scheduled to visit Tuticorin today to assess the situation. The Indian Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard and National Disaster Response Force, NDRF, are working in tandem to rescue and relief work at various locations in the state. Furthermore, power restoration remains pending in various sections of the district, exacerbating the already distressed situation. Despite this, flight operations have recommended at the Tuticorin airport, offering a glimmer of connectivity amidst the turmoil, and food is being cooked and dispatched from relief camps. Well, DD India correspondent Anbarasan joins us from Tuticorin for more. Now, Anbarasan, can you provide an update on the current status of the flood-like situation in Tuticorin and the surrounding districts following the heavy rainfall?
After the 4 days of unprecedented rains in southern districts of Tamil Nadu, still in Tuticorin city need to be recovered, and water level till not yet receded. And the Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has just now only arrived to Tuticorin to review the relief and rescue missions. And Central Assessment Team actually yesterday came and they went into the interior parts of Tuticorin and other parts of Tuticorin. And actually they went via boat and to assess the situation in the flood affected areas. And today they actually visited the Tirunelveli and also the neighboring districts and places. And still actually the electricity and basic emergency essential items need to be given to the flood affected people, and via helicopters the NDRF and all three forces has been in full swing to give food and relief materials to the flood affected people via airdropping. And particularly there is a pregnant woman has been taken and admitted in the hospital. There are so many examples that the forces are
Definitely. Can you just tell us exactly where you're standing right now? Because we can see people behind you are facing difficulty.
Actually, we are now at the Tuticorin Government General Hospital where the ambulance and all the essential vehicle need to go and people need to access. In that road actually fully flooded, and it's very difficult to the patients to reach the hospital. Particularly there is an example via helicopter actually the medicine and food has been airdropped to the hospital for the treatment. And still there is another parts of the entire Tuticorin city, and also there is a Andoniyaputam National Highway road where Tirunelveli and Tuticorin has connected. That road has been totally washed away by the flood, and just now only the road transport actually started.
Okay. Can you just tell us about the rescue operations? How effective have the joint state and central relief and rescue efforts have been in mitigating the impact of the flooding in Tamil Nadu?
Actually, the water level nearing the Tamirabari river and the water wherever the lakes and the ponds are there, the water level is very high. So the national NDRF team and SDRF both are very difficult to reach near to those places. So now the water level has been receded. So the NDRF and SDRF team are reaching there, and most of the people are rescued, and now they have been sent back to the relief camps. There they actually given a treatment sometime, and also they are giving food and all the necessity arrangements are arranged by both NDRF and state administration. And still due to the electricity, actually there is an incident in Tuticorin, 2 people are died after the electricity is given. So due to the precautionary measurement, the administration is not able to give electricity to the district administration.
Okay, that's because of security concerns, but thank you so much for joining in. And pursuant to the US $1 million relief assistance announced for the Pacific country, India sends relief supplies to Papua New Guinea on special charter flight. Relief supplies including approximately 11 tons of disaster relief material and 6 tons of medical aid takes off for volcanic eruption after people of Papua New Guinea. As India scales new heights in the field of digitization, achieving new milestones, online payments have become a popular and widely used mode among the citizens. Use of digital payments in the birthplace of Lord Ram can be seen as a perfect blend of spirituality and digitalization. DD India correspondent Ajay Mishra files this report more from Ayodhya, the birthplace of Lord Ram.
Devotees visiting India's northern city of Ayodhya, located in the state of Uttar Pradesh, are getting to experience the facilities of digital payment, even to buy bhog prasad or offering and garlands. Even if one wants to try out Ayodhya's famous street foods like papdi chaat, They are using digital payment mode like UPI or Unified Payments Interface, India's indigenous online payment platform.
डिजिटल पेमेंट से यही फायदा है कि हमको जो है पैसा लेने देने में कोई परेशानी नहीं होती है।
मुझे आराम है कि सर जी टूटा फूटा और आप बैंक में कैश चला जाता है और उसके लिए बहुत अच्छा है सर जी।
Also, at the Kanak Bhavan, the well-known famous temple in Ayodhya, have introduced the digital payment facility to allow patrons to donate money to the temple trust through online means.
The digital payment ecosystem is really a big boon for those who wants to contribute to the Ram Mandir temple building. You can see this is a very simple QR code of SBI. There are select few banks who have been chosen for this noble cause, and you can just scan this QR code on the screen and you can pay whatever amount you want to contribute for this noble cause. Really, this has made the job easier for the donors and also for the Ram Mandir Trust. With camera person Uttam Singh, Ajay Mishra, DD India, Ayodhya.
Pakistan's former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif praised India during his address to the party cadre on Wednesday. Sharif said India has reached the moon, but Pakistan has still not risen from the ground. Nawaz Sharif recently addressed a party meeting in Lahore via video link from London, where he expressed his concerns about Pakistan's economic crisis. As he's warming up for his election pitch, he made several references to India and said neither India nor US were responsible for the economic condition Pakistan has been facing. Now let's look into the major developments in Pakistan, where hundreds of Baloch protesters marched towards Islamabad against the alleged Baloch genocide and enforced disappearances. Protesters were stopped by authorities, and as many as about 20 Baloch activists were also arrested. Pakistan police used water cannon to disperse the protesters. India has shown concern towards the deteriorating humanitarian situation in its neighboring country, Afghanistan. Permanent representative of India to United Nations, Ruchira Kamboj, during a UN Security Council briefing on Wednesday, reiterated India's unwavering support to the people of Afghanistan.
Humanitarian assistance to the people of Afghanistan needs to be prioritized, given the distressing humanitarian situation in the country. India has delivered material humanitarian assistance to Afghanistan and has also continued its educational scholarships for the Afghan students. We have also partnered with various UN agencies, including the UN World Food Programme and the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, in their humanitarian efforts. Let me state that India reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the people of Afghanistan.
Let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. China's financial hub, Shanghai, witnesses chilliest period in December in 4 decades, spurring authorities to issue warnings for low temperatures and wind. The city's lowest temperatures is set to be -4 to -6 degrees Celsius. Ukrainian town Lyman residents are preparing for a difficult winter as snow falls and the temperature drops. Thailand repatriated 3 rescued Sumatran orangutans to Indonesia in a bittersweet farewell attended by officials of both countries. Rescued from illegal trade near the Thai-Malaysia border in 2016, was found abandoned at a Thai petrol station in 2019. And Bogota streets are filled with Christmas cheer as the Colombian capital prepares for the holiday season. A steam train decorated with festive lights featuring Santa Claus and Elvis entertains adults and children. The city's botanical garden also hosts a night show featuring LED light, eco-friendly animal figures.
Al Jardín Botánico de Bogotá. Acompáñame en este vuelo. Bienvenidos.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. India to face South Africa in a series deciding match today. Confident India dominate day 1 against Australia women. France ready to relocate the 2024 opening Olympic ceremony from the planned River Seine if the security situation demands.
a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world, one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information. Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs. With a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Well, you're watching DD India News Hour and time now for sport, and for that my colleague Abhishek Mahajan is here. Abhishek, tell us what is happening in the world of sport.
Absolutely, so that lot is happening. We'll start with cricket. India will be looking to get back to winning ways and seal the 3-match series in their favour with a comfortable victory at the Bowling Park Stadium in Perth. India had comprehensively beaten the Proteas in the first ODI thanks to the heroics of Arshdeep Singh and Avesh Khan, who helped restrict the hosts to a score of 117, which India managed to chase down easily in just under 17 overs. In the second ODI, South Africa pulled level in the 3-match ODI series against India with an 8-wicket win at the St. George's Oval on Tuesday. Women's cricket now. Australia women's team was tottering at 180 for the loss of 8 wickets at the end of the second session of the first day of the one-off test against India in Mumbai. Australian captain Alyssa Healy won the toss and elected to bat, but the decision backfired as the visitors lost 2 wickets under 10 runs. Phoebe Litchfield was run out in the first over itself. The most experienced player of this test, Elise Perry, was sent packing in second ball by Pooja Wastrakar. Vice-captain Talia McGrath stuck in and built a 80-run stand with Beth Mooney, but the former got a bit defensive against spin and gifted her wicket to Sneh Rana. 4 wickets fell between lunch and tea interval. Wastrakar struck twice to push Australia on the back foot, and she was well complimented by Sneh Rana. Regular wickets meant Australia has not got a partnership going. There were debuts on both the sides, with India handing a cap to wicket-keeper batter Richa Ghosh and Australia bringing in left-arm fast bowler Lauren Shettle into the mix. And in response to heightened security tensions across Europe, French President Emmanuel Macron stated on Wednesday that France is ready to relocate the 2024 Olympic opening ceremony from the planned River Seine location if the security situation demands it. Macron revealed the existence of contingency plans, including Plan B and Plan C, emphasizing a cautious approach to potential security threats. He expressed reluctance to alter plans hastily, but acknowledged the possibility of triggering an alternative if the level of insecurity requires us to revisit the initial scheme. Listen in.
As we are professionals, there are obviously plans B, C, etc. There is difference between organizing and planning, and then straight away being in a state of doomsaying and somehow no longer having any ambition. Saying let's repatriate, no.
And with an expected 600,000 visitors, the ceremony is set to take place on July 26th, featuring 160 boats departing from the Pont d'Australis for a 6-kilometer journey to the Pont d'Elena. Tony Estanguet, the head of the organizing committee, described the event as unique and spectacular, highlighting the significance of balancing spectacle with security in these uncertain times.
Of course, but that's what a plan B is. You are in November 2015. You are 2 weeks ahead of Olympic Games. You have a series of terrorist attacks. What do? Well, you don't organize on the CN. But you know, common sense helps. We must not go into impossible scenarios. Say, we can no longer organize anything. No, France is a great country.
All right, that's all we have in the world of sports. Back to you, Siddharth.
Thank you for all those updates from the world of sport, Abhishek. For the Christmas celebrations in Indian state of Karnataka, India's tallest Christmas tree has been set up. Towering at an impressive height of 100 feet, the colossal tree stands at the centerpiece of Bengaluru's Phoenix Mall of Asia. The colossal tree is a beacon of holiday cheer, adorned with enchanting decorations and featuring lively elves and Santa Claus spreading joy in the surrounding area. All right, and that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Prasar Bharati from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.